Mabuhay, everyone. Thank you for sharing your afternoon with us here on Kababayan today. Also giving a shout out to our Kababayans in Hawaii joining us watching through Kiko Network. Today on the show, we're also going to give you some of the events that's going on in your Philcom Center in your Filipino-American community in Hawaii. But for now, congratulations and a big round of applause. Isang bagsak para sa ating guest this afternoon. His name is Justin, and what I like about Justin is he's an accomplished Filipino, accomplished individual, so we're very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But at the same time, he's not stopping there, and he's adopting this motto or slogan of Gawad Kalinga, which is Walang Iwanan, as he goes back to the Philippines to create jobs and projects for livelihood for our kababayans in the Philippines. Justin, hello and welcome to Kababayan today, first of all.
Hi.
I'm so honored to have you here with us because I was just reading about you. You've been to Australia, got your MBA, University of Maryland for your undergraduate business degree. You worked in Chicago, and yet you chose to go back to the Philippines. Why?
I guess I just fell in love with the country. It started, I never actually grew up in the Philippines, but during my MBA, I went on exchange at the Asian Institute of Management in Manila. And during those 3 months was my first time experiencing living in the Philippines, taking a taxi, getting around. And I just loved it. The people, the food. I felt at home there, even though I'm still learning the language and everything. But from those 3 months, I felt like there was a lot of social challenges that I wanted to help others in addressing. And my co-founder, she was also a former classmate of mine, we decided to start a social enterprise as a way to give back and support other organizations in the Philippines to help them benefit communities, address environmental challenges, etc. And that's what led to where we're at today, where we recently launched socialproject.ph.
Yes, socialproject.ph. Let's talk about social ventures, and because not too many people are able to grasp the idea of social ventures or business with a conscience. Yeah.
So they're basically social businesses that factor people, planet, profits. So there's a triple bottom line.
Right.
One definition of a social enterprise, social venture, is a social benefit business that trades to fulfill its mission. So there's a revenue generation aspect, but a lot of the profits are reinvested towards their social mission, or like a target beneficiary, which could be fisher folk, women, indigenous people, etc. So it's a more sustainable way to address some of the social challenges because they generate revenue. They may also still rely on donations and standard philanthropy, but it's sort of like a third space. In one area, you have for-profit businesses maximizing profit. And on the other end, you have a nonprofit strictly relying on donations.
And you're meeting in the middle.
Yeah, so I believe a social enterprise could address, it's like a best of both worlds. It's not easy. It's a constant tension between their social cause as well as the business aspect.
Right.
But if you can get it right, it could make a big impact in many ways.
And up until recently, where people are slowly venturing into that, we have this notion of capitalism, which is just for profit, profit, profit. And people, we know, get rich by doing that. And we always hear this, as long as you're an employee, you'll never strike it rich, so you have to start your own thing. So people right now are starting their own businesses thinking because they want to get rich and because that is a way to get rich. How do you then reconcile that? What would you tell them so that they can change their mindset about going into business to get rich? Do you get rich in social ventures?
You could. It's still a newer model. So one successful example is Tom's Shoes. So many know about the 1-for-1. And if you actually look into their financials, they're making millions off their business model. And you can sleep good at night knowing that you've actually benefited communities, you're making money. So for me, it's a win-win. And what I'd encourage others to pursue this, it's the way business has to be. We have diminishing resources, whether it be clean water, land, etc. There's more and more poor people. In the Philippines alone, there's, I believe, up to a third of the population is in poverty, which is something that's struck me as I had to do something in terms of helping others, would be volunteering with a nonprofit, etc. That it's just the right thing to do. And if you could combine, again, the best of both worlds, it could be pretty powerful.
And also, we're not discounting that. Of course, when there's profit, it's tangible measure of success. But at the same time, when you talked about sleeping good at night, knowing that you're making a difference, that's also something that's intangible. But it's something that that's fulfilling as well, I can imagine. Yeah.
And then there's another area that's called SROI. So there's a return on investment and there's a social return on investment. And there's not a universal metric that's established globally, but it looks at, okay, how many people have you gotten out of poverty? How many children have been fed? All the different social metrics that can be measured that can provide tangible evidence of what impact you're making.
And that's the goal for socialproject.ph. In fact, you have several projects. Let's talk a little bit about your project with GK, because I am a GK advocate, Gawad Kalinga. What are you doing with them?
So we're actually working directly with bamboo ties. So they're bamboo bow ties. I should have brought one today.
I have seen some. I had a guest here before, John Santos. He's a comedian from the Philippines, and he was wearing a bamboo bow tie. Yes.
Nice. So with bamboo ties, the founder is also the founder of Bam Bikes. They partner with the GK Tarlac community, where they provide livelihood to the people in the community. With their particular project, they're fundraising to provide funding for education for the children in that community.
Right.
So with every bamboo tie that they pledge and people donate for on our website, a portion of it goes towards the community, towards an education fund.
Okay, and we're only just starting. Like I mentioned earlier, there are several projects, information on the screen. We're going to try to get one more segment with Justin, but for now, thank you so much, and we'll be back more. Don't go away.